So I was in high school. He was out of school. A lot of us know in our communities, in the black community, most of the time the girls date up. They date older. So my daughter's dad, he is 4 years older than me. And we actually met because his cousin and my cousin, they were dating. So we know how that used to be back in school. My friend got a friend or my cousin got a cousin. It was that type of ordeal. And when we met, my dad used to always kind of like try and trick me and say, yeah, I'm dropping you off to the movies, but don't be surprised if I'm sitting in the back of the movie theaters, just so I wouldn't meet up with a boy. Gotcha, daddy. But we ended up meeting and going out on a date to the movies, and we were just talking like all the time on the phone. While I was in school, he would come and pick me up. He had a car, so he would take me to school. Sometimes I would skip school. And unfortunately, because of that, we were together for a year. We broke up my senior year. And right at the end of my senior year is when my daughter came. As soon as we got back together, it was, here she is. And at that time, I was getting ready to graduate. I had scholarships to go to FAM. I had 2 scholarships and I had got accepted into FAM. And I also had took the ASVAB because a lot of my family is military. So I could have went to the Navy as well. But the Navy is not family friendly because I wasn't married and I had a child. I didn't want to sign over the rights because unfortunately as you grow and as you mature, and a lot of us can relate, once we have a child, that maturity is like a switch for most, especially for the mothers. I can't speak on the fathers, but for the mothers, it just switched. And it was like I literally woke up and was like, what are we doing? At that point, it was like we're not really like seeing things the same, and it just kind of started to like separate. So we ended up breaking up, and I was just kind of like one of those driven girls. Like it was like my parents and my grandparents was like, you're pregnant, everything is over, that type of old school mentality, and it could have been, but I wanted to make sure that was not my life. I wanted to make sure that despite what everybody else thinks about teen moms, I was going to push past that. I was going to make sure that I was something and somebody, me and my daughter, no matter what choice I made. So I was able to, while I was pregnant, I went to SPC instead of going to FAM. And I ended up, it was tough, I will say that. I was only able to take like 1 or 2 classes. I was working 2 or 3 jobs, but I was making sure that my daughter always had somewhere, and we were always good and we were always taken care of. So it really molded when it came to hustling, making sure that I'm always good and I'm always doing something to progress not only me, but her as well.
So have you had any experiences in your life where you knew it was nothing but God that brought you through that experience?
First trip to Miami, Memorial Weekend on top of that. We were, I think, 18, 19, and I went down there. It was some girls that was in the entertainment industry, and I was the only one that had a car, the only one that had a credit card, and a license on top of that. So, and I wasn't afraid. Like that was one thing my grandmother was always worried about, was because I was fearless in a lot of things. I didn't know about the troubles that I was, putting myself in. And unfortunately, being down there, I will say this particular time, it wasn't the first time, actually, it was the second time. We were in one of the cabanas at one of the hotels with some guys partying, and this was around the time that Molly was starting to really, be popular. And one of the guys actually put one of the pills inside of the bottle. And thankfully, the one that we had, well, me and one of the other girls had, we seen it. So we didn't drink out of it. But unfortunately, one of the other girls that was with us, she didn't. And Some things ended up happening later that night because she was drugged. And I would say that God was with me, because it could have been me. I could have not been paying attention to, the bottle that we were drinking, or, just even they could have just poured us a glass and us not even thinking of anything like that. And you hear about it, but you just kind of, you don't think it's going to happen to you. And just seeing the things that she went through, it was one of those things that kind of like made me think like I'm thankful, because it could have been me. I could have been in that situation and had been taken advantage of. So I knew God was with me, because it was just right there. It was happening, and thankfully it didn't happen to me.
So is your friend okay, or what happened with her? Was she a friend, or she was just someone that was?
We were close. We were close in the sense of partying, hanging out and stuff together. But unfortunately, what I learned was that was not the first time that she had been taken advantage of. So it was something that she was numb to, and I don't feel like it's an excuse, but I also can't put myself in her shoes. But she was numb to it. So as it happened, it was just kind of like it is what it is. When I found out, she purposely didn't tell me, because she knew that I knew some guys that was down there that would have handled the ones that, did wrong to her. And she did not tell me until after we left. So I felt like I didn't protect her, and I wasn't there, how I could have been there. So that also was another pain that I carried for a long time, just because I never want any woman, anyone to go and be taken advantage of.